Thanks so much, Keith. That was beautiful. If you want to stick around and do it again and again, I think we would all appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So just a few other friends joining us. And so today we want to just do a couple of things. We want to thank all of you for participating, those that did in the Rachen Nunnery service project. I want to give a little overview and a little brief of our experience on pilgrimage with the Rachen Nunnery, just because it's sort of, I think, one of the major highlights, and it's an opportunity to give thanks to a lot of people that contributed. And then, Geshe will have some words for the new year, planning and prepping for the new year, and hopefully some advices. And then, of course, we're going to close out the CSP, so we thought maybe we would do the CSP closing in a more ritual way. Oftentimes when you complete a retreat, there's a little bit of a fire puja ceremony, so we thought we would do that. And then we would think ahead and look ahead and sort of brief us on all the activities that are coming down the pike. So that's a little bit of the flow or the cadence of the evening or the morning, depending where you are. I think did Venerable Lindy join us from Tassie? Let me see. I think she wherever you are now, Lindy, welcome. Nice to have you. So one of the major catalyst, let's say, the way that we intersect together is in service. I think the service project has been one of the major through lines through our work together since the inception of the Contemplative Studies Program. We have now, supported 3 different nunneries in the course of the last 4 years. We started with my book launch with the Kopan Nunnery and made a wonderful connection with them. And we did the book launch with Geshe Tenzin Zopa there. Of course, Geshe Tenzin Zopa has, in fact, opened the doors to all of us to make these network connections. And so, a word like service is a little loaded. It's more like connection. It's like we're making a network. We are creating a network across the planet. We can do that in cyberspace. We can make a network because right now we have, we're crossing, night and day right now between, Geshe Tenzin Zopa, Lindy and myself, and maybe a few others are in your future. And, so service is a little like, it has a sense that we're giving something to someone else. But in fact, I think anybody who's participated in the service projects well understands that really we're the benefactors. There's a network exchange, there's a network effect. And so every time we are granted the opportunity to connect, our network increases manyfold, and then there's this beautiful exchange of energy, and I think it ends up being probably, at least speaking for myself, the most satisfying aspect of all the Dharma efforts and Dharma studies that we do. So we supported Kopan Nunnery, then we moved to another nunnery in Zanskar, the Dorje Zong Nunnery, and we did that for 2 years during the height of the pandemic. And then towards the end of the CSP arc, we were fortunate to link with Rachen Nunnery based on Geshe Tenzin Zopa's vision. And so, part of being in the Tenzin Zopa mandala is to really be inspired by a larger vision, a vision that maybe each of us individually couldn't have that view or that vista or that imagination. And so we're really sort of building on an energy of someone who sees a very vast expanse, a very high horizon line. And Geshe Tenzin Zopa had this vision of building out a beautiful orchard in this nunnery that is considered a bail. A bail is a sacred or magical, if you want, magical valley, a hidden valley, a gem, a treasure trove, very, very pure, very untouched, unspoiled. the air is pure there. The mountain grass are pure there. The animals roam freely there. In fact, that area where the Rachen Nunnery is has had a sanction on violence against animals for over 100 years. So the spirit of it is almost like a fairy tale. It has this very innocent quality. And Geshe Tenzin Zopa had a vision to, support the nunnery, but to beautify the nunnery and to build out a beautiful orchard of 500 trees, fruit trees. And suddenly this idea of a tree became very symbolic. It became a kind of focal point to galvanize around. Of course, the tree has always been a very substantial metaphoric symbol across all traditions. Christianity, there's the cross. Buddha was enlightened under a tree. There's the world tree in many mythologies, connecting the heavens and with the earth. And so right away you have this beautiful symbol, again with the roots very firmly in tradition and lineage, but the branches reaching out again in this kind of network effect, encompassing beyond the veil of Rachen Nunnery, tying us around the world to different centers, different organizations, different people coming to Rachen, experiencing the beauty, experiencing the innocence, and experiencing the lineage where there has been very, very deep and sincere practice there. And in addition to this, it's not just a symbol for Geshe Tenzin Zopa, this idea of an orchard, but then there was some very practical things too, building out washrooms for monastics and sangha members who are, getting on in age and obviously have, practical needs. And there, of course, when we also were asked to build out a water tank, again, something very practical. And all of this gave us a kind of focal point. And, I'm always amazed by people's contribution. So for probably a year, people endeavored to raise money and got their heads and their hearts in the right place. And whether they actually had a connection to the Rachen Nunnery, had an experience, none of us at the time had an experience, which is one of the uncanny things about the service project, is without ever having set foot there and without ever having met a single nun there, people from across the world baked cakes, sold malas, raised funds, talked with their friends, did what they could to raise money. And, at the end of the day, we sent a nice parcel that way. But I think, and I think we should feel really good about it, as Geshe Tenzin Zopa would continually ask us to rejoice, and rejoicing and feeling happy and feeling good is perhaps the most, it's certainly the most proper, but the most reinforcing emotion. It's the one that's going to get us to do this again and again and again. Biochemically, it's the best incentive. To feel good and to feel joy is how we will replicate this over and over again. But I have to say, the joy of giving is also only half of the equation. I think all of us that had the privilege to go to Rachen Nunnery also had this experience of many times over being the recipient of goodwill and being the recipient of implicit teachings, secret teachings, very, very subtle teachings, but also overt generosity. I think I'm just going to give you one little glimpse as I continue my talk here. Just want to do one thing and give you one photograph here, which I think is a beautiful photograph of Rachen Nunnery, so that you don't have to look at my mug. You can look at this vista. This is the great Rachen Nunnery and the beautiful valley in which it sits high up in the Himalayas. And I think all of us that went there, arriving by helicopter, received by the nuns, got this overwhelming sense of generosity, incredible generosity, inspiring generosity. I mean, even they don't have much, the good cheer and the high vibration in which we were the recipients, 100 times more impactful than anything that we could do for them. So 100 times more, 100x more receiving end. So this is I think, as you know, we're the Western younger cousin or younger daughter of the lineage, right? We're the newest recipient of these teachings. And so, one of the greatest gifts, I think, is to observe what it's like for people who have been raised on the milk and honey of Dharma, who have it embedded in their genetics, how they operate. The selflessness with which they operate is truly remarkable, truly remarkable. One little story I can say is when Geshe Tenzin Zopa arrives, they more than roll out the red carpet for him. And it's not like as a president. In a way, it's kind of like Dharma royalty. It's unfathomable. I'm sure it's very uncomfortable for him, but to be the center of so much attention and so much praises. But on the other hand, it's so freely given. And there was one moment where since we were delayed in arriving, we only had 4 days there. There was one moment where we arrived 1 day late, and Geshe Tenzin Zopa was going to take us to the Rachen Monastery there, about an hour walk. And along the way, people were waiting for him in the fields, in the rolling hills, with tea and gifts and kata, sacred scarves, to receive him. And this wasn't just a small party of 10 here and there. It was constant. It was upon arrival at every milestone along the way, and then incredibly on the way back, since we spent an incredible day going to the monastery and then up to the Milarepa caves, etc. On the way back, we were very delayed. And we were coming back to the nunnery in the dark, in the night. And I'm a big fan of symbols and metaphors, the mythic dimension. So here we are, a bunch of guests coming through the night on our way back to the nunnery, and there in the distance you couldn't see, but you could hear the song, the folk song of the villagers who had waited all day long. Oh man. Had waited all day long for their Lama, just to catch a glimpse after years of not seeing him, to offer him kata and to offer all of us tea in the middle of the night. It's just, we don't know anything like this. We have no idea. And what an amazing teaching it is, that how the Lama is valued as the ambassador of the tradition, of the lineage, the downloading of the transmission of the lineage comes through the Lama. How they are seen and revered is so touching and so moving, and really in stark contrast to our culture that really doesn't know how to prize individuals, doesn't really understand the value of things, has sort of lost our way. To see that there's no holding back. Whatever grain of rice they have, whatever last sip of tea they have, doesn't matter what time of day it is, doesn't matter day or night, cold or hot, whatever the elements are, whatever the challenges are, they are going to make that connection, and they are going to express their devotion, which is, it's love. It's love. It's no holds bar love. Unrestricted love. Tears in their eyes, tears in our eyes. I saw a few tears in Geshe-la's eyes. Really, truly remarkable and inspiring. So I just want to, for those of you who haven't made it up there, I just want to share this as a little glimpse of what the remarkable gift exchange was like in that secret hidden valley, because in a way, if you did participate, you are the recipient of that goodwill exchange also. It trickles down through all of us that were there, and hopefully you'll experience it, the tremendous boon of gratitude, the overwhelming sense of generosity and the unimaginable joy you are all part of that. And not just once. I mean, Geshe Tenzin Zopa has repeatedly said this to us, that the opportunity to continue to support the Rachen Nunnery and all that it represents, both as a physical space with actual people, but also as a metaphor, as a symbol, is not just for now, but it is forever. It is for all of our lifetimes and for our progeny as well. I think about my 2 kids, and I think, man, if they ever get the chance to go up there and to frolic and play underneath the apple orchards that Geshe Tenzin Zopa envisioned, and to meet and put their heads down in the shrine that's over 100 years old, the old Gompa, which is incredible, so beautiful. This old Gompa really is also another symbol. It survives so many earthquakes. It has this beautiful patina. It's made with really old stone. Its rafters are beautiful old wood. Its floorboards upon which countless beings have done their prostrations is imbued with this intensive energy. It's surrounded by the Avalokiteshvara, multi-armed, multi-faceted exemplar of compassion. It is truly just even one little space there, entering into one little space like that. There is no price. There's no price. There's no offer that we could make that could ever come back to us for even just 1 minute of being there. And I'm not over dramatizing it. If you asked anyone that was there, they'd, I'm sure, concur and resonate with what I'm saying. And so I just want to just say thank you to anybody who did participate in the service project. I think it is probably one of the highlights of our lives to go up to Rachen and to be part of that exchange and to really make a karmic network impression that we can follow through. You know, it's not just going to be a one-time thing. It's going to be an impetus going forward. So the efforts that you've made, whether they're small or large, doesn't matter. Geshe Tenzin Zopa has repeatedly said, even just 1 flower, even just 1 grain of rice, it doesn't matter if it's a single dollar. Even if, okay, here's another teaching from Geshe Tenzin Zopa. I hope that I've internalized it. Even if you didn't make a contribution and you're new on this call right now, and just seeing that image of Rachen Nunnery, if you can even feel in your heart how magnificent it was that a few people got to have this experience, and you rejoice, you feel good about it, you don't feel like you missed out or you had FOMO or anything like that. You find in your heart that the goodwill is, there is still goodwill in our bones. There's still goodwill. There's still a good story out there. There's still goodness out there. If you feel that, then karmically you are the inheritor and the receiver of that karmic merit. That is truly a powerful teaching. So I just want to offer us just even 1 minute. Those that were there, try to recall from memory your most salient moment of joy. Those that weren't there, just based on my recount, to know that there are still hidden valleys of goodwill on this planet, where people have turned their hearts inside out. True bodhisattvas, magical places and magical beings. That is true, that we are people that went on a discovery and found a new horizon and actually observed this and are coming home to recount it. If you are the recipient of that image and that sentiment and that inspires you, rejoice. Just take a moment, breathe, and feel like, what a breath of fresh air. After all that we have been through in the pandemic, after all the bombardment of social media and news headlines of disasters and wars and pandemics and loss, to know that for 1 minute we can celebrate generosity, sincerity, patience, goodwill, gratitude is truly a remarkable thing. So just take a moment and join me in doing that. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us in the new year. Thank you so much for participating in the Rachen Service Project. Thank you so much for even just spending a minute rejoicing. I'm now going to just turn it over to Geshe Tenzin Zopa. Sorry I was talking so much, Geshe. But thank you, Geshe, for being with us.
Oh, Dashi Dele, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mel, for very altruistic message. Plenty of information to rejoice and everything. So, and thank you for talking longer. And also hello and greetings to each and every one of you, giving your precious time for this session. Yeah, so I think I can sum up in this maybe three words, maybe. The first one is rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice in everything that that each and every one of you have done under the leadership of Dr. Mel, including from many years of your friendship, of your Sangha community, the Dharma community, especially learning Lamrim, the gradual path to enlightenment. Then not only that, not only learning, but putting into practice in your very best in your day-to-day life. Hearing the stories from some of the senior or the older friends from the previous pilgrimage group, and as well as those of the recent pilgrimage group. Each and every one has amazing transformative stories related to your own life. So many meaningful transformations. Finding the true purpose of life, true meaning of life. Happiness. Then boost your altruistic energy, the altruistic motivations for your rest of life to dedicate in the service of all sentient beings, and starting that from your own home. Start with yourself, taking good care of yourself, with the true sense of knowing how to take good care of yourself, with genuine love, compassion, understanding about yourself, forgiving those things that which one have experienced, either unknowing, I would say, unintentionally or circumstantially. anything that negative experiences that happen in life that you developed genuine sense of understanding about you being as a human being. Therefore, any mistake is possible. But then here, liberate yourself by purifying them, by letting go of them, forgiving them, and being compassionate, whether the action is mainly caused by yourself or environmentally, or with the circumstances that are related to family members, friends, and the world, and you are you have the wisdom to purify them by forgiving, by by understanding, and by being compassion to yourself. And not only that, you have this altruistic attitude and altruistic wisdom to understand everything exists interdependently, with so many factors, not just that one thing that one has been clinging on to, grasping onto, and so difficult to dismantle that, so difficult to find any other reason, and keep blaming yourself, or keep blaming that one person, keep blaming that one situation. But then here comes to understanding that everything is interdependent arising. There are so many cause and conditions and factors, including of the past lifetimes karma, and others' karma, collective karma, not just your own karma, not just your own action. There's a collective actions, environmental karma, environmental actions that brings the suffering that we go through, that negative experience that we go through, and right there you're able to dismantle them. Right there you're able to let go of that grasping. Right there you're able to forgive if necessary, to yourself or others, and purify and move on, moving on with full of purposes, full of virtues, meaningful purposes, and that is to be happy with virtuous reasons. Be happy, virtuous reasons. All of us, every single moment, getting older, physically getting weaker, and mentally also, getting more forgetful. So we cannot expect too much of happiness in relation to external factors, such as physical, those sensual happiness, or including the conscious sensual, excitement, but there are much more greater happiness, much more lasting happiness for us yet to experience. Much more lasting, much more genuine, true happiness is yet to experience. What we experience after today is very much very gross, very temporary. And many of those so-called as happiness actually is in fact it's a suffering of change, not really has been true happiness. The reason is, we very much dependent our happiness on material level, physical level, essential level, and we never really have discovered, at least me have not yet, maybe some of you have already discovered, but at least myself have not reached up to that stage to really to experience genuine happiness, lasting happiness, inner peace, and all this can experience through through meanings, through understanding the meanings, purposes, and engaging in virtues. You see, so if we found the meaning and the purpose of our precious human life, and if we are utilizing that meaning, that purpose, even just a fraction of it, even just half a percentage of it, when you know that, then that inner peace will develop. Then the lasting happiness will experience, inner peace will experience, and that can increase until it become the everlasting happiness that all the Buddhas have enjoyed, So, so you see, so finding virtuous purpose, not worldly purpose. We've been working on, we've been living in fulfilling worldly purpose. Very much like that. That's why we experience abundance of samsara, isn't it? Abundance of samsara, because we create the cause of fulfilling the worldly purpose. You see, here worldly purpose, doesn't mean the lay life's purpose. It's two different things. Worldly purpose is in the concern of 8 worldly concerns. In the concerns of fame, status, anything that you pursue with the attachment, grasping, attitude of aversion, ignorance, ego, etc. When we look back, many of things that we pursue in life, that very much may fall into under one of those concerns, and that is called the worldly purpose. And that is creation of abundance of causes for samsara, for suffering. And it blocks the door to experience inner peace, lasting happiness, true happiness. And it blocks the door for us to see the real purpose of our life, real meaning of this precious human rebirth. So, now, you see, through Dharma study, through your own past lifetimes, accumulations of merit, we come to a stage that not only getting opportunity to learn Lamrim, not only get opportunity to learn the meaningful examples from each other. While we are doing pilgrimage, while you are gathering either virtually or physically in the past. All of us somewhere, somehow inspired to each other in many good ways. But more than that, you have put in practice, as I mentioned before, put in practice. There's so many transformations that happened. So we have to acknowledge that. Each and every one of us have to acknowledge that. You see, you feel like you didn't change much, but actually you have changed a lot. Each and every one of us have changed a lot, transformed for better a lot. So we need to acknowledge that and continue, acknowledge that, then move on the journey with a purposeful, with a meaningful journey of precious human life, that which I just have said, finding the inner peace, finding true happiness, whether you want to label as enlightenment or not, Buddhahood as a not Buddhahood or not, but one thing is common to all of us, and everyone can understand, your own way of finding Buddha is finding the inner peace, finding true happiness, lasting happiness, with reasoning, with a valid reason. So we need to, as I mentioned before, we cannot we cannot depend on material and physical and sensual happiness. We have to go beyond that, and that is now meditating on the meaning of Lamrim, meditating on the meaning of the virtuous purpose of life. Here, meditating doesn't mean go into cave and don't do all your lay responsibilities. It doesn't mean that. Wherever you are, you're in the right place. Whatever you are doing right thing. What I mean about meditation is be mindful. Have this mindfulness, introspection in our day-to-day life to find meaning, find virtuous meaning in what you do, whether you are taking care of children, or whether you are caring for your elderly parents, or whether you are doing job outside, any kind of job, whether you are single, whether you are with partner, whatever the thing that you're pursuing, we have to find meaning, altruistic meaning in that, and we will have abundance. We will be amazed, the abundance of meaning there, which we have ignored from beginningless lifetime. We have ignored the abundance of meaning. You will be surprised to yourself. Wow, wow! There's so many beautiful meaning out there, and I didn't realize. It will be much more exciting than winning. Winning in America? I heard there's some people really win. Big lottery. Is that true? So it will be much more exciting than winning, I don't know, billions of lottery. You will be amazed, and yes. So therefore, and those meanings are being in the service of. So those meanings are being in the service of sentient being. Being in the service of living beings and the planet, those are the most beautiful meanings. So we live in the service, in our very best, in our whatever capability that you may have. As like Dr. Mel said, if physically you're able to engage in making betterment of others' life, do so. Financially capable, do so. Otherwise, you can do that with your prayers, your best wishes, and most powerful that anybody can do anytime is rejoicing. Feel happy for those who are able to benefit others, and be happy for yourself that you can rejoice towards that. It's not easy to rejoice. First of all, not easy to find the things to be rejoiced. That itself requires so much merit. Secondly, when you see goodness is happening in others, then having the heart of rejoicement, feel happy for them is not easy also. That also requires a lot of merits. So you see, so now here, feel happy for yourself that I have this heart of rejoicement. How wonderful, how beautiful it is. So you can do that, you see. So, so be in the service of others and be in the service of sentient being. So that start from yourself. So unless you are already Buddha, then exception, then you can put aside. If you think you are not yet Buddha, you still have this emotional up and down, physical, sometimes stress. Then those are the sign of you are still sentient being, and you need service. You seriously need service. Then therefore, you are the first living being to offer the service. As I mentioned before, service that provided by full of genuine compassion, genuine love, genuine respect, genuine understanding. You see, so start from there. So if you're able to do that well with you, then you are really fulfilling the meaning of life. You see, then have the mindfulness introspection to always guard your mind, not to hurt yourself. Guard your mind. This is one of the most important practice. Guard your mind, guard your thoughts. You see, and of course, our thoughts are habituated with so many negative emotions. So there will be like a water flood that comes in our way. Those such as anger, depression, low self-esteem, attachment, etc., etc. But then there you use the tools of Lamrim, and that you have studied from your teachers, and especially those of you have studied from Dr. Mel, and those of you who have not studied, now you're going to study more Lamrim from Dr. Mel, and it is so wonderful, so meaningful to have that consistent guiding, because our mind is so easy to get distracted. We need regular guidance, regular reminders. Even we may know a lot, even we may have studied already before, but if we don't, have a the Sangha member, the virtuous friends to reminding again and again, our mind is so easy to get distracted and influenced by negative emotion. You see, so like the Tibetan masters, those who are genuine, practitioners dedicating their life in Dharma, such as the study of Lamrim, they do that for whole life. They can chant the entire Lamrim with the memorization. They can remember everything, but they still read the Lamrim again, repeat the recitation. If you have already memorized, you repeat the recitation again and again, and you continue to receive teachings on Lamrim from your teachers again and again, repeatedly, whole throughout the life like that. That is mainly to our mind to protect from distractions. You see. So learning of the Dharma, learning of Lamrim is not like our school study. Once you graduate, then that's it. It's not like that. Learning of Lamrim, we have to learn until we become Buddha, until we get enlightened, until our all negative emotions are completely eradicated from the seed, from depth of our continuum. Until then, we have to learn Lamrim. We have to study Lamrim like that. So, yeah. So therefore, yes, like that. So take good care of yourself, in that way. Be in the service of sentient being in that way. Then that you expand to your children, your parents, your brothers, sisters, your friends, then like communities, like such as what Dr. Mel already elaborately mentioned about Rachen Nunnery and Mu Monastery, and those sanghas, not just because of I know them, I know many monasteries, many nunneries, and many other needy communities also. But I find specifically the Rachen Nunnery Mu Monastery, from many different reasons, that the connection itself become like a lamrim to all of us, like reminder to all of us, of the Dharma, of what it means by the service, meaning of life, the virtuous meaning of life. The place itself is a very remote, in this world, maybe one of the most remote place. Some many other places, even in Himalayas, in Tibet, they are so easy accessed nowadays. But the Rachen Nunnery Mu Monastery is still very difficult access. Very few people, able to connect to this place because of the difficulty to reach there. Then the temples and the holy object that hosts in these two monasteries, it has so much blessings, such as self-spoken holy objects, statues. Then hundreds and hundreds of years of preserved holy scriptures. So these are the relics, and these are the Dharma relics that has to preserve. And looking at those resident sanghas, some of the old sanghas, like many have already passed away, but even at this very time, the oldest nun is around, I think, 80 or 90 something. And they stay put there whole life since little age, 7, 8 years old, and up to now 90 years old. And they stay put there even though the physical conditions such as accommodation, such as food, clothes, accessibility to all the cares, almost like cut off, so limited. But then they dedicate their life, to protect these relics. And there are very few, and there are very few people who do that. There are many places people pay salary for them to take care of these holy relics. But these people, they are doing with they're understanding the value of these relics and respect and the practice in the teachings of these relics. You see, and they do that with their altruistic attitude. Each and every one of them. If you ask them, what is the motivation that you are doing this? What is the motivation that you are doing retreat there? What is the motivation that you are, taking care of the temple, etc., etc.? Their answer will be, may I be in the service of all sentient beings, happiness all the way up to enlightenment for that purpose. May I create a merit and virtue that helps to clear all the sufferings and negativities of the world and sentient being. So it's really, really beautiful and meaningful practice. You see. So then the most of the sanghas there is lifelong retreaters. So they are very rare in the world, that people who dedicate their life in lifelong retreats. You see, just an example, there are like two nuns expressing after just recently completing 1,000 sets of Nunnery retreat, the fasting Compassionate Buddha's retreat. Now want to dedicate another 10 years in completely lock-up retreat for accumulation of 100 million Oman in Pemihung retreat. I mean, where to find today's time, such people? And they are not all sanghas. They are mid-age, around my age, sanghas, and who have that kind of determination. Unbelievable, you see. Then many of Dhamma friends who have visited in our recent trip to Rachen, remember there's one cook nun that always, she's always in the kitchen, who's also taking care of all mother at the nunnery. She just went last Lama Tsongkhapa's day, about a month or so ago, on Lama Tsongkhapa day, she and another nun went into 100 sets of Nyungne retreat. And now freezing cold up there, they went into retreats like that. You see, so, and then even those of the younger sanghas who traveled to India for his honest teaching, now they are dedicating, prostration retreat and sadhana practice retreat and circumambulation practice in Bodh Gaya until the Tibetan New Year, about a month and a half, since his honest teaching all the way. And all these are coming from individual side. So I find it is so rare in today's time to have that kind of blessed heart. So I feel, whatever way that we can be part of their family, part of their sangha family, and letting them know that we are there for you and we rejoice. We rejoice what you do, and like each and every one of you who went up, you physically mentioned that to each and every one of them. I think many of this group have a lot of huggings. So you have hugged many of the nuns, telling them for them get that kind of hugging is extremely rare. So and telling them, even though they may not understand English, many of the older ones, but just your presence there actually letting them know that they are not forgotten. and what they do is appreciated, So then where the Nunnery monastery is regarded one of the Guru Pema Sambhava's hidden valley. There are, I think, two or few hidden valleys in Nepal. One of them is regarded in Zoom. So there are a lot of treasures, Dharma treasures. Beside all the other holy places that we have visited, that the one another important part is the Guru Rinpoche's blessed place, in hidden treasure place. So from that point of view, also feel very, very significant for us to, be part of this Sangha family. So, yes. So like that. Yeah. So we will continue to engage with them. That Dr. Mel have so many plans, and each and every one of you, directly or indirectly participated in those previously achieved amazing, virtuous contributions and plans. And there are so many future, plans are there, including of, I think Dr. Mel will mention later, there's even possibility for us to do some retreat in the nunnery, like such as 100,000 water bowl retreats, etc., etc. So there are a lot of it's very much like a lifelong engagement, which is keep reminding us the meaning and purpose of our life as a service for the sentient beings' happiness. And that will give us a lot of reasons to be appreciating about our life, a lot of reasons to feel rejoice about what we do, a lot of reasons to, feel happy, genuine happiness. And whatever we do, we do beyond our lifetime. You see, any Dharma practice and any Dharma job that we do, the motivation is to be targeted beyond our lifetime's benefit. You see, so then altruistic, with altruistic motivation, benefit not just to what we can see, but benefit beyond what we are able to imagine, and offer benefit until the end of the samsara, and until all beings actualize enlightenment, and whatever we do benefit there. The dedication is for peace and happiness and enlightenment of the whole world and whole sentient being, so not just, even though we are doing for few people in one nunnery monastery, but then the motivation, dedication reach out to the whole sentient being, and the greatest purpose of enlightenment. So like that. So rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. And the second word is thank you, thank you, thank you for Dr. Mel, Emily, and the rest of you here, and all the friends who are unable to participate today here. I send my deepest appreciation of all that you do. And my third word is, what is my third word? Yes. Study, maybe. Continue to study Lamrim, and be in the service that, be in the service of sentient beings, starting from yourself, how Buddha would do, how Buddhist Sangha would do. So I think I would stop here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Geshe. So I wanted to, I think it was Mindy who wisely recommended we do a proper closing of the CSP. I think you join me in appreciating that rituals are healthy and good markers of beginning and ends. Before I just do a quick summary of everything that we did together, maybe I would like to ask Geshe Tenzin Zopa the meaning of the fire puja. Even though we won't be able to light a fire virtually, I wonder if he can help us orient our minds, explain a little bit about what a fire puja is at the end of a retreat, for example, so we can maybe borrow a little bit of the idea, since we are coming to the end of one journey, do a proper virtual simulation, and then we can think about what the next leg of the journey can look like. So Geshe, can you just explain a little bit about the meaning of a fire puja at the end of a retreat, and maybe offer us some advices about how to conclude the CSP meaningfully?
Okay. Actually, when Dr. Mel mentioned about the fire puja, I was thinking about this Vajradhaka fire puja. So this is it's a short text. It is part of the Ngondo practice. It is also one of Lama Tsongkhapa's heart practice, purifications of negativities, broken samayas, commitments, etc. And very powerful practice to restore all the precepts, restore our motivation, courage, etc. So yeah, I will share the text later. This is of course individually also you can do. Even without the initiation, you can still do that. But best if you have, one of high tantric initiation, if possible, then based on that, like such as Yamentaka. Otherwise, just do the visualization, recite the mantra, and do the fire puja. Also can be done like that. So in future, I think one day. Don't know where, maybe we can engage in this practice in person collectively. So when we do fire puja, the fire, first of all, we purify our ordinariness, the ordinariness of the fire, ordinariness of the ingredients that you offer to the fire, including of the deity in relation to what the fire puja offer, purify the ordinariness in emptiness. Then from that emptiness, arise fire mandala, fire deity and fire mandala. So in relation to this Vajradhaka fire puja, on the fire mandala, then there is a Vajradhaka who actually opened the mouth, and where you offer the sesame seed, and that which in fact create a form of scorpion, and that sesame seed is the object. Through our visualization, bring dissolution of all the negativities and all the things that we wish to purify. So then also under your feet, you visualize the wind mandala. Then at the navel, visualize fire mandala. Then at the heart, you visualize there's a energy which is like a dark smoky color kind of energy, and that is the where through visualization all your past, present, future obstacles, negativities, karma, including of others, including of the environment, all the negativities, dissolve into that energy. Then after that, you lit, and then you visualize the wind mandala. It's like a fan activated. Then from there, strong wind arise, and that reach to the navel area where the fire mandala, the fire is, strongly flame. And from there, it the fire that which pushed by the travel together with the strong wind energy, bring about the dark energy that you have just visualized coming out from your nostril, then dissolve into the sesame seed that meant in the form of a scorpion, dissolve into that. Then, while reciting the Vajrataka mantra on Vajrataka Kaka Kai Kai Salva Bandana Bhamikuru Soha. So you recite, while reciting, each time you recite, then you take that sesame seed and put it into the mouth of the Vajrataka. So if there's a statue, you can use it. If not, just create a fire, either through charcoals, woods. Then you offer. You offer that into Vajrataka's mouth. Then there you visualize all the negativities, all the things that you wish to purify, bring it to complete purification. So like that. So that's the way how this fire puja will perform. Of course, there are many different fire pujas, many different elaborated fire pujas, but this one is something that which individually easily can be actualized. Even the ingredients for many other fire puja has many ingredients. For this is just sesame seed. So in the text, first it says take refuge and generate bodhicitta. Then after that, generate the special bodhicitta. Then meditate on emptiness, as I briefly mentioned. Then you visualize the self and the deity and the fire mandala. Then after that, do the offerings of such as 8 offerings. Then after that, you offer praises. And then after that, you do visualization, as I mentioned before. It says, while seeing yourself in ordinary form, a black ram, a 6th syllable of your negativities, appear at your heart. So whenever there's syllables mentioned, if you don't know the Tibetan letter or the Sanskrit letter, you can just visualize in the light energy form. Black palm. So it's like a dark black color, as I mentioned before, visualize it around the heart. Then at your navel from the red ram. So here also, you can just visualize a red light form energy. At your navel from the red ram, a red fire mandala appears. The red fire mandala is very much like when you on the lighter. So there's like a flame coming up like that. So it's similar like that. You can visualize something like that. And beneath your feet appear a blue yam from there, which transform into a blue air mandala. So turban air, like a mandala, like a fan type, you know. Then light rays emanate from the slip of palm, bringing forth all negativities and obscurations of your three doors, which appear as a black rays and are absorbed into the black palm. So you can visualize like that. This practice also can be done for you know, someone that who are going through sickness. You can do the all same visualization, but this the black slip of palm, that which is the dark energy there. Then from the sick person, you know, you visualize all the sicknesses. It is karma that causing it. It's condition that causing it. You know, ripen upon that that black, you know, the dark energy at your heart there. In the world, if there's, you know, troubles are going on, like such as war, etc., you can also do this visualization for that. And you can, of course, you can do this visualization for yourself if any kind of physical or mental, you know, difficulties going through. Then you know, you visualize, you know, dissolving all those negativities onto that palm. From below, the blue wind blows and blue air rise up your leg, fanning the fire that blaze at your navel. Flaming rays pursue the palm, chasing it out through the door of your nose. So it pushes out from your nose. And the slip of palm take the form of large black scorpion, and it absorbed into the sesame seed. So if you're visualizing the latter, then, you know, in the form of that black slip of palm, that which is actually the essence of all the negativities, all the obstacles, otherwise the light, and then absorb into the you know, scorpion that made out of the sesame. So and it become that. These seeds are then offered to the mouth of Dojikado, which is the Vajradhaka. Then offering mantra is Om Vajradhaka Khaga Kha, Om Vajradhaka Khaga Khaye Sawapabam Dana Baminguru Soha. So when you see, so like an example, this is the plate. So then here you create the sesame seed, like a scorpion. So the facing out like that. So then the Vajradhaka statue is like in front, you know, on the stalk. Then each time when you recite the mantra, you scoop like this. Like this, not throw like that. You scoop like this and throw like this into the mouth. Om Vajradhaka Khaga Khaye Sawapabandana Bameguru Soha. Om Vajradhaka Khaga Khaye Sawapabandana Bameguru Soha. Like that. Then after that, 8 offerings, then praises, then there's a prayers of asking forgiveness if in case the mantras are not pronounced correctly, or the ritual sequence are not done properly, or anything there's a limitation. Then, you know, usually at the end of the ritual we ask forgiveness. So this, then after that you dedicate the merit. Okay, so what we do is we recite the mantra a few rounds, then individually you can do the visualization. So today we just do the visualization, as I mentioned before. Okay, so take a moment. First of all, I try to dissolve all the impure existence that actualized by our impure view, such as like inherent view of true existent, view of substantial existent. An object that is still grasping onto it, completely dissolve into empty, including the view of permanent grasping, and it is object, such as CPS, isn't it? Contemplative study. CPS. This also lies in the nature of impermanent. So here we have the reason to dissolve into emptiness. Then in the nature of emptiness, then all the, all existence are possible, including this, all the past efforts from Dr. Mel and the team and the rest of the students that who come together and cultivate, virtuous, Dharma environment, Dharma learning, practice, actualizing path on the stages to the enlightenment. Everything is possible, and it's possible interdependent in the interdependent arising nature. That now it developed into a future, all the meaningful things that you all will come together and engage, including of study of Lamrim, all the service projects, and everything, including taking good care of yourself. Everything is possible because all lies in the nature of emptiness. And all the limitations and negativities, everything, put behind. Let go and purify them with the opponent power of Vajrataka fire puja. Including of individually have experienced, losses in the family, or health issues, financial issues, relationship issues, whatever sort of negativities happened in the past, everything here purified. Now visualize, as mentioned before, the wind mandala, the fire mandala, then the energy that where you absorb all the negativities, then visualize that dissolving into the scorpion that form by sesame. visualize there's immense fire mandala, that which is very much pervades in the whole universe. The fire rays is more powerful than rays of sun. And it is pervaded by the Vajradhaka deity. It is mouth, open like as like infinite space. The intensity of the fire and the open readiness of the consumptions by Vajradhaka, that there's nothing, there's not even one single negativities that cannot be purified. Even those of the heinous crimes that may committed in the past lifetimes. Have a full conviction and confident faith that all negativities are to be purified. So I will recite the mantra slowly so that you all can recite together or repeat after me. Om Vajra Daga Kaka Kaye Sawapabam Dahana Baminguru Soha. Om Vajra Daga Kaka Kaye Sawapabam Dahana Baminguru Soha. Om Vajadaga Kaga Kaye Sawapabam Dana Baminguru So. 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 Om Vajadaga Sabari Vari Aragam Padam Dube Dube Alonge Gende Newt Shabda Tadi Zang So. In the center of the blazing wisdom fire stand the dark blue, wrathful cannibal Dojekado. Just by remembering him, all demons and delusions are destroyed completely. To you, Dojekado, I prostrate. Please forgive all my wrong actions done while powerless through not understanding and through not having found the material to offer. The transcendental wisdom returned to the absolute nature from where it is came, and commitment of the deity, Dojekado, is transformed into blazing fire. Then dedication. Because of this merit, may I be taken care of by and not be separated from the Mahayana Guru, who shows the infallible path, and drink the nectar of speech, not being satisfied with just a few words, through the power received by the completing the practice of renunciation, bodhicitta, and right view, the 6 perfections and the 2 tantric stages. May I quickly attain the stages of the Buddhahood, possessed of the 10 faculties. May this benefit me so that I quickly reach Buddhahood, omniscient mind, my prayers being fulfilled through the power of the blessings of the Guru, who never betrayed the 3 sublime jewels of the unchangeable absolute sphere and of unbetraying interdependence. So so we can dedicate like this. All the merits and virtues that accumulated by me, by yourself, in the past, in the present, and all the virtues that you accumulate in the future, and all the merits and virtues accumulated by past, present, future Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arahats, Tathagatas, and all the gurus, and all the sentient beings. May this collective merit be complete cause. All the sentient beings to be free from oceans of samsaric suffering. It is causes karma and delusion, and actualized from temporary happiness after the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. May this collective merit be complete cause. The natural disasters that are happening around the world, the war, the famine, any form of conflict, and all the diseases, including this COVID, individually, whoever experiencing health issues, financial issues, relationship issues, whatever negativities that they may be going through, overcome without delaying even a moment. May this collective merit be complete cause. Anyone who passed away, particularly in last 49 days, be free from suffering of death, suffering of intermediate state, suffering of rebirth, and actualize higher rebirth in precious human rebirth, or higher rebirth in Buddha's pure realm. And within that lifetime, they actualize full enlightenment accordingly. May this collective merit be complete cause. All the beneficial beings, the peacemakers, virtuous beings like His Holiness the Lama, Jamsha Lama Suvarmache, all your spiritual holy gurus, including Dr. Neale, and each and every one of you, always, each and every one of you and your family members, always enjoy good health, long life, and fulfill all your aspirations up to full enlightenment accordingly. May this collective merit be complete cause. All the virtuous institutions, like such as monasteries, nunneries, and all the virtuous communities, free from inner outer secret obstacles, and actualize all the conducive conditions to preserve extensive learning in virtue and dharma, actualize realization of the stages of path accordingly. May this collective merit be complete cause. May I be in the service of numberless sentient beings, temporary happiness after the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. As just like the Bodhisattva Shantideva and Nagarjuna would aspire. As long as the space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, may I too remain to dispel the misery of them. And as like the Shantideva, as like the Nagarjuna have expressed, may I be like the wish-fulfilling jewel, conditioning happiness and enlightenment to each and every single sentient beings. So by the power of your pure intention, by the power of the Vajradhaka and all the Buddhas, all the object of refuge, and by the power of the nature of interdependent rising emptiness, whatever aspirations and prayers and dedication that we made, everything to be actualized accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Mindy, for suggesting the puja. And for those that didn't have the benefit of a prior call and the emails, the CSP is now officially dissolved. Thank you, Geshe, for helping us transition through the bardo. just by way of recapping, I think we have a lot to rejoice in. Those of you that have participated in the aspect of the CSP over its 4 years. I think a lot of incredible learning occurred. And we have to thank Geshe Tenzin Zopa right away for being the inspiration for the conception of the CSP following the first pilgrimage to Nepal in 2018. I think there was a lot of energy out of that pilgrimage, and with Allison, we were able to build an infrastructure for us to participate in learning together. And, we were prepared for COVID in advance. And I think I have to just say, thank God for all of us and the infrastructure in the sky and Geshe Tenzin Zopa. We had all the right ingredients to get through COVID. I mean, we were so fortunate. I remember there were classes in the basement of my apartment I was in the toy room of the kids' toy room, and it was still unclear that you could go outside, and I was messing around with audio, video, and wires and cables amidst toys and Legos to get those courses going. So, just think back a couple of years when we were right in the middle of all of that, being able to convene weekly to tap the nectar of the Dharma, to go through some of Lama Tsongkhapa, to go through Shantideva, to go through Nagarjuna, to do it together with so much uncertainty, and to go through it. It was an incredible boon. It was an incredible ride. Some of the breakouts, I know were really important to some of you. You were looking forward to getting the support from a small cohort. I think that was really meaningful. I want to thank, of course, Kristen and Emily and Mindy for holding that space during those years. Again, we had the service project. I think that was an incredible opportunity. We had the pilgrimage to Sri Lanka. I know that Arina is on the call, so if she's still on there, thank you, Arina, for prepping us for Sri Lanka and getting us that amazing opportunity. Anyway, it was, for me, an incredibly satisfying period of learning. If you ever want to learn something, try to teach it. Try to teach it. It's, we went through the entire stages. We did all the meditations. We also watched the shadow. We did some innovations with science and with Jung and with mythology. We brought the Lam Rim into new vistas and new horizons. We made sure it was applicable to our circumstance. We went through the social justice period of George Floyd at that time. So I hope you share with me that it was a good, solid, genuine dive into the Lam Rim during a period of time that was incredibly bumpy and uncertain. I think I just want to be frank and clear with those of you that may be surprised that we're closing. The flip side of the incredible run that we had was also it's very taxing. It expended a lot of energy. For me, I never imagined what it would take to actually run an organization. It's one thing to get motivated to study. It's another thing to build out the infrastructure behind the scenes. Allison and I, and more recently Karen, who's put together all of this programming. Thank you, Karen. It's not an easy thing to keep an infrastructure together. I think I'm worn down by that process. It's almost like I like the teaching side, but the running of the organization is just absolutely, it's humbling what it takes to run it. dealing with the demands and the critiques and the complaints and the things that don't go well and things that don't go right. And I think coming back from this last pilgrimage, I think I just needed to get clear that it is possible to go on, but it's also possible to shed something. So I think for me, the CSP ran its course. We had 4 years between 2 pilgrimages amidst the pandemic. It showed us what we could do together. It showed us what's really important in life, where our priorities are, where our strength comes from. But it's not something that I feel like I have to hold on to. Emily and I have made so many adjustments. We have left Nalanda after 20 years. We have left Mindstream after building it out. We have left the United States to make sure we can give our boys the best life possible. We are also now letting go of the CSP. So I think that part of Dharma is also recognizing when it's also time to let go. And letting go isn't not an absolute into the nothingness. I'm not disappearing. I mean, part of the conversation during the pilgrimage with Geshe was determining what part stays and what part goes. Yeah, I mean, I think strong connections have been made. Those I encourage you to maintain. Other things that are more draining, we can let go of and see if there's a possibility for something more dynamic and more fluid and more collective to emerge. There are a couple of question marks in my mind about the future that not clear, and nothing has to be clear. For example, 2 questions is how do we continue without the cumbersome organizational burden, which feels like an old world to me. It feels like carrying an old world. Those of you that know what it's like to sit on those tedious meetings that keep an organization running, there must be something out of there that makes it more streamlined. And we haven't yet discovered what that is, but that's one of the interests I have moving forward. And the other question is how to raise a lot of money for Rachen Nunnery. And I feel, in all honesty, compelled to do that and completely unaware of how to do it. And so I think it's also important to know that it's very healthy to have a long range view of a goal that you have no idea how you're going to accomplish. That's called a moonshot. And so one of my interests is shifting away from being customer service to figuring out how I'm going to support the nunnery. And so that may take a little time to emerge. I think getting the orientation together and then putting in the good energy, something positive will emerge, discussion will happen, a network will happen. We'll be able to move forward in a more streamlined way. We will be able to fundraise for Rachen. We will be able to meet there, go on long retreat there. All of that is still very much part of my interest. So as far as CSP is concerned, the details about your courses and libraries, we're going to answer those questions in more detail in email. So just keep aware of the email. Don't worry about it. We recognize that you have library access, that you have archive material that you're enjoying, that you're going through. Keep an eye on the email for the details there. But for us going forward, I think Geshe Tenzin Zopa has been clear. The path, I mean, one thing I heard from him today, which is really, it's not novel, but it's very poignant, is that the study of Dharma is not about the worldly life. And he was very clear to clarify what worldly life doesn't mean we have to abandon our families. It just means to be very clear about what it is that we're pursuing and for what reasons and for what motivation. So I'm going to take that as a cue for the next course, which happens next week. We will gather once again and go through the stages once again. But I think we're going to tighten it up a little bit. at least I intend to tighten it up energetically. I think it will be the first course I teach that offers the opportunity to be completely off social media for 6 weeks. Because I've found it to be too distracting and too compelling on our brains. So this is just one of the caveats and opportunities I'm going to provide next week when we get into the Lam Rim, is just to be very clear about our priorities and be very clear about what distracts us. I've tried many different experimentations with social media and Dharma, and I'm growing more convinced that there are less benefits than there are downfalls. So let's experiment with that. I know that Geshe Tenzin Zopa is also teaching a retreat in Arizona. Geshe-la, can you tell us about your retreat that I think is in March or April?
Still not booked ticket yet. Still sorting out. It's supposed to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Then also there's a plan of going to San Francisco, land of medicine Buddha. So then after that, some European countries. So at the moment, not finalized everything yet. I also hear about a lot of new COVID restrictions are coming. So that also I'm, don't want people or myself to stuck somewhere and inconvenient to anybody. So I'm also thinking about that. So let's see, a few weeks time, I will know where I'm going.
Okay, what I intend to do is, as soon as I have the information from Geshe-la, I will include that in our email blast so that you can have all the updated information about where his retreats are, in case you want to try to travel and sync with him. So we'll make sure we have all of Geshe-la's information in one place for you. And then, of course, we have a pilgrimage in September to Bali. Bali is it has a natural draw for healing here. I mean, people come to reinvent themselves. People come to heal medically, psychologically. The island of Bali for a long time has been known for being imbued with a particular kind of healing energy. It is the Balinese people still maintain a very rich tradition of ritual and perspective and generosity that keeps them aligned with the land and with the spirit world. And in a way, it's quite obvious that people are, drawn to do healing work here. So part of my vision over the last year, since I did some investigation in February, was to see if we can strike the right balance between Balinese and ritual and Tibetan practices, including the Tibetan medical practices, but also the medicine Buddha, amidst the land and with the local indigenous wisdom keepers here. And so it's taking me fairly long to organize and curate that opportunity, but it's now ready to go. And I think that that's going to be a wonderful trip with Geshe-la. And I think Geshe-la will probably be doing some things he's not ever done before, which is also exciting to see. But it will include some 2 days at the Borobudur Monument. We'll do some extensive prayers there, and we'll do for world peace and for healing. And then it includes a deep retreat on medicine Buddha. And it includes a lot of daily excursions amidst the land, doing art and food and agriculture. And part of the spirit here is people rethinking how to do systems, drawing from the past and looking forward to the future. In other words, bringing old traditional regenerative skills and know-how and putting them to bear so that something new can build. Now that's not a perfect experiment here, because there's a lot of other unsavory and shadow elements here to negotiate. So of course, we'll bring in some Jungian psychology on that trip to make sure that we got our eyes on our blind spot. But nevertheless, I'm very happy to get and thankful to Geshe for agreeing to do one more pilgrimage. And as we mentioned, we also, following year, 2024, we'll like to do a fundraising long retreat in Rachen. So I'll be developing that so that we can turn that into a fundraiser and also do some long practice there together. So sort of that to me, coming out of this pilgrimage is really the orientation. I think if we can find a way to streamline our gatherings and our teachings, and at the same time keep Rachen in the foreground, I think this is something I want to try to experiment with. So with that said, I just want to reiterate what Geshe said. I think we have a tremendous amount to rejoice for all the efforts, whether you are part of the original cohort, making it through the pandemic with the Contemplative Studies Immersion, or you joined us for when Soundmaster Phil Jacobs was with us for the year-long Lam Rim meditation series. All of that material will remain available and will transmigrate in a way to my own personal site. And those of you that are just joining us and have no idea what we're talking about, you just got a tremendous blessing of fire puja. That's how it works with Geshe Tenzin Zopa. Your doorway in is unbeknownst to you, just went into something very deep that will make a lifelong connection with him. So that's good. That's wonderful. Next week we start right back at the beginning. But of course, as Geshe said, you can go right back at the beginning and you're never the same person, you're never the same person every time you start. So here we go again next week. Hope that you'll join me from Bali as I do the morning session and you the evening session. And we will keep you posted on all the other activities. I know that there's so many of you that want to participate in some way with Rachen. If you just sort of take a deep breath and let a channel emerge, that will be really helpful so that we can drive all of our energies, our collective energies, into a funnel. That will be a really meaningful thing to pray for and to chat with me about if you have ideas. And with that, I just want to thank Geshe again and Venerable Lindy, and of course, all of you, and Karen for hosting us and putting the email blast together and the Zoom platform together in Allison's absence. I want to, of course, mention Allison and thank her, even though she's not with us, for all of her incredible energy and support over the years that we've ran the CSP. And then finally, I just want to mention, it's just one door closes and another one opens. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to let something go in your life. It only makes room for something else. And if it's not clear what that thing is, don't be afraid of that either. This is like a mini Bardo teaching. I mean, have faith that we are being guided, that we have made a strong connection with all these power places and with this lineage. In some way, even though we can't see, we won't go wrong. We won't go astray. I will just keep reinventing ourselves. So it's okay. I'm okay with it. I hope eventually you're okay with it. Everything will be okay. Okay. So thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see you next week, and look for emails from us so that you can keep apprised of all the activities of Geshe and myself and ways to intersect as we continue the journey.
And Dr. Mel, I would take opportunity to update about Rachen a little bit. Sorry, I forgot. From the last group, and or anyone through the last group supported for the palliative care for the all sick nuns is already engaged, already happening since I think Lama Tsongkhapa Day. When I can't remember exact date, but before the resident teacher, the Rachen resident teacher, and some of the nuns came down to Kathmandu and to go to his honest teaching in India. So the palliative care is already engaged, already happening. So the all sick nuns are well cared. So just to let you all know, and those of individuals that who support to actualize this care, I, on behalf of all the needy nuns, I would like to express deep thanking and appreciation like that. Then, as for the bathroom building project, quite number of the sitting toilet bowls are already carried by helicopter to Zoom. I think 6, 7 of them, I think already is up in Rachen Nunnery. Then there are more of the building facilities. Initially, I mentioned about 16 bathrooms. So now I asked them to build the entire stretch, maybe 20 over bathrooms. I say just carry on and see how I believe things will actualize all the necessaries. But I've already ordered all the supplies to bring up and start the work right after the snow season is over. And the Zoom manager who just back from his honest teaching to Kathmandu, so he's already in action to do all the shoppings and going to truck for 8 hours, halfway to Zoom. Then from there we will carried by helicopter. I've also initiated the build a sunroom from the second pilgrimage group. 4 sunrooms are sponsored. Each of the sunroom is about 250,000 Nepali rupees. So 4 sunrooms are already sponsored, and also asked them to build the sunroom for the equal number of the bathroom. Because if we do the shopping, according with the number of sponsors, then we may need to do that again and again, and it will cost more. So rather, I said, okay, we shop one time and charter a helicopter for one time. Then, as far as concerned with the sponsorship, I think will come on the way gradually. So I think for the bathroom, at this moment, I don't know how many bathrooms are sponsored, but I think at least quite, definitely maybe around 10, even though some of the funds are not in hand yet, but maybe around there, maybe 8 or 9, 10, I have no idea yet. So time to time, I will update. And most importantly, once the works are complete, then hopefully by next pilgrimage when we go up, everything is ready. And there are also some other meaningful projects coming up. And basically, I've already engaged the architect, the builders, including the involvement of the both Zoom Rachen Nunnery manager and the resident teacher Geshe Nyima, as well as the Kopan main manager Temba Chetan. So we have already done all the necessary plannings, and the project is on and going to start few months time. So just to let you all know that. Thank you very much. And the orchard, the fruit planting, initially they are looking for one particular apple tree which only can plant in the winter, and that the season is not so suitable. So now we are looking for another type of breed, the apple tree breed, that which also can plant in the summertime. And so in any way, the apple tree will plant soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe, and thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you
We'll
so
see
much.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.